It's Do Time with Pastor Steph.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine. You're on with this Do Time with Pastor Steph. How are you this morning? That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. For this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So, where were you yesterday? I was on with just Pastor KL yesterday, and we talked about those condescending parents and the things that they have done and said to their children that have led these children into some really serious issues as adults. And we talked about their chronic self-doubt. We talked about the fear of self-expression. We talked about being that people pleaser. You know, all of those things come from very young. I always say a big mess was once a little mess. And all the things that parents do to children, how they treat them, how they speak to them, their expectations, it just doesn't stay with them as children. And a lot of times we as parents don't even understand that we're doing something that is going to have that lasting effect on our children. And this weekend we will be walking for domestic abuse and domestic violence and abuse. And that's one of the things that, you know, it really is. It teeters on abuse. Not only that, but we are also working for insecurity. And some of those things, that self-doubt and fear of self-expression, that stuff is insecurity. Whatever was done as a child now has you leery of saying and doing certain things, even now as an adult. So we have to be very mindful of our behavior, of the things that we do that our children will walk with and then take into adulthood possibly. So, you know, it's a hard thing to deal with because a lot of times, again, you don't realize you're doing it as a parent, but pay attention because we don't want to leave our children, you know, messed up, and we don't realize why as adults they can't function properly. Okay. Well, that's how we spend our Tuesday. Well, today is Wow Wednesday, the last day of the week for us here on this Do Time with Pastor Steph, as we prepare for our Breaking the Yoke community conference we've been talking about. So we're going to have a short show, but let's get ready for our girlfriend Viv as she brings us our socially conscious segment. So go ahead and get that healthy breakfast. Go ahead and tell somebody, anybody, everybody that it's Do Time with Pastor Steph is on. And whatever you do, don't go anywhere because we will be right back.
I noticed the strongest women don't argue, they adjust access. Most people think strength looks like fighting back, explaining yourself, defending every point. But the strongest women I observed behave differently. They don't waste energy trying to convince people who are committed to misunderstanding them. They don't argue with disrespect. They don't beg for better treatment. They simply change the level of access. Less conversation, less availability, less emotional investment. And that's not out of pettiness, but out of self-respect. Because when someone shows you how little they value you, the real power isn't improving them wrong. It's quietly deciding that they no longer get the same version of you. And something interesting happens when you do that. People who respected you rise to meet your standards, and the ones who didn't naturally remove themselves. Because strong women don't control people, they control who gets access to them.
Good morning, and good morning again. Welcome back to It's Due Time with Pastor Steph, and it is Wow Wednesday. We're not going to push the issue any longer. We're going to get our girlfriend Vivian on with her socially conscious segment. Let's say good morning, Viv. Hey.
Good morning. Happy Wow Wednesday. How are you, Pastor Steph?
I am well, thank you, Vivian. I'm ready for the weekend, girl. Are you ready for the weekend? Are you ready for this upcoming Breaking the Yoke Community Conference? This is the 4th year, girl.
Yes, I'm ready to see no more shirts, but I'm more so ready. I feel like this is going to be somewhat of a family reunion. Everybody's coming together to walk and pray. We're going to see people we haven't seen in a while. We're going to meet new people. So I'm very excited.
All righty. All right. Well, we'll be back next week, guys, to tell everybody all about it, who missed it, and to just kind of recap all the stuff that happened with the people who were there. So, let's see what's going to happen. What you got for us today?
All right. Today on Socially Conscious, we are starting off with some good news for business owners and anyone who wants to be an entrepreneur or a small business owner. Reports say that Mayor Mamdani has signed an executive order making life a little easier for New York City's small business owners. The new initiative is designed to cut through some of the red tape that can make opening or running a small business frustrating for some. They're saying under the plan, the city will simplify paperwork, speed up permits and inspections, and make it easier for business owners to navigate city agencies. The change is expected to benefit both new entrepreneurs looking to open a business and existing business owners trying to grow and or expand. They're saying while businesses will still have to follow health and safety rules, city officials say the goal is to remove unnecessary delays. Owners spend less time dealing with paperwork and more time serving customers, creating jobs, and growing the local economy. Leaders are hoping that this change will encourage more people to open businesses across all 5 boroughs, which will help existing businesses, people who are looking for jobs, and overall, again, just help the economy. So we'll see what that does for business owners as these things start rolling out. Speaking of Mayor Mamdani, he is proposing a new change to New York City's rental application process. They're saying under this new plan, landlords will be allowed to require either a credit check or proof of income from prospective tenants, but they will no longer be able to do both. If a landlord chooses a credit check, they or their broker would also be responsible for paying for that credit check instead of passing that cost on to the applicant, which we know they've been supposedly doing this for a while now. The proposal is part of the mayor's broader rental ripoff report, which aims to make renting more affordable and remove barriers that many New Yorkers say have a steady difficulty and to making it difficult for them to secure housing. Supporters believe that the change could help renters who have steady income but poor credit scores, or good credit but non-traditional income. So they're hoping that this will just open up doors for people on either side. Critics, however, argue the proposal could make landlords more cautious, lead to stricter screening in other areas, or even contribute to higher rent. The proposal would require approval before becoming a law. So it has not passed as of yet, but this is something that he has proposed. Of course, we love to hear from you. What do you think about this new idea? Would it be beneficial or would it be harmful? And next, we are out in Jersey, as reports say that a software glitch mistakenly registered about 6,600 non-citizens to vote between June 2023 and June of 2024. According to the governor, the error happened through the state's Motor Vehicle Commission, where some people applying for driver's license or state IDs were registered to vote even after indicating that they were not U.S. citizens. Interesting. A preliminary review found that fewer than 400 of those individuals went to cast ballots. State officials say the glitch was corrected in 2024, but the affected voter registrations are being removed as of today. They're still moving those people. An investigation has been launched, and the state plans to replace the software vendor. Governor Sherrill says that there is currently no evidence that the mistake changed the outcome of any election. All right. But now we have our wow story of the week, which takes us out to Ohio, where lawmakers have passed a controversial bill that will require schools to teach students that getting married before having children is the preferred path to building a successful life. The new law requires schools to include lessons based on what's known as the success sequence, encouraging students to graduate from high school, get a good job, get married, and then have children. Supporters say that the curriculum is based on research showing that people who follow that order are generally less likely to live in poverty and more likely to achieve financial stability. Critics, however, argue that schools should not be teaching one preferred way to build a family, saying those conversations should be left to parents and families. The new requirement is expected to become part of Ohio's public school curriculum in the near future. Some people are saying that this is given the old way that they used to teach sex ed, that the best way to prevent pregnancies and STDs is to not have sex until married. Some people are saying that this is getting a little bit too close to religious beliefs. But of course, we would love to hear from you. Is this a requirement that is, in your eyes, something good to teach all students in public school, or should they leave this up to the parents? But this has been Vivian with Socially Conscious News, giving you the news that we are following. And remember, if you have any stories, any wild stories that you would like to submit, please feel free to direct message me on Facebook My username there is Vivian BM, and come back every Wednesday to find out if your story has been chosen. Thank you as always to our loyal viewers and listeners, and thank you, Pastor Steph.
All right, Vivian, thank you. I just need some clarity, please. Okay, so we have the software glitch. It happened from Motor Vehicles DMV. How many registered voters did we end up with?
6,600 non-citizen registered voters.
Non-citizen. All righty. Okay. And what's the process that the school is going to teach, please? So graduate.
They say graduate from high school, get a good job, get married, and then have children.
Okay. All right, girl.
And they
always
are
something
this
interesting.
The success sequence.
Okay. The success sequence. As always, you give us a whole lot on our plate. Thank you so much for your contribution this morning, and we pray you have a blessed rest of your week.
Thank you. You as well.
Thank you. Well, you know what we do on Wednesday mornings after Vivian gives her socially conscious segment. We then go into our good morning to our Due Time family. We got our girl Ketty in the room. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. We have our King Terrence. Good morning, King Terrence. I'm interested in what you have to say about a couple of these items here. What it do, crew? From our Pastor KL. Good morning. Lady Tamika is on this side of the screen saying good morning to us, and we will be chatting with her in a second. Katie says, great PSA. And we must say good morning to the ladies that hold it down each and every day. Let's say good morning to our girl Shantice. Good morning. Let's say good morning to our girl Anika. Thank you so much. Good morning. All right, we got Miss Grace officially checking in this morning. Good morning, Miss Grace. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. All right, where are our ladies? Where my girls at? Front to back. Where my girls at? Hey, let's say good morning to our lady Tamika.
Good morning. How are you? And did I just hear you sing a song?
Where my girls at? Yes. I got my jingle this morning. Where my girls at? Front to back. Hey, yes. How are you?
All right. How are you? Happy Wow Wednesday to you.
Yes, ma'am. Happy Wow Wednesday. Good morning. And good morning. All right. Let's say good morning. Oh, to our girl Shanti. She's making her grand appearance today. Oh my goodness. I'm surprised she doesn't have a shirt up in front of her face. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for just really pushing your way through this morning. Let's get to talking about these items because I intend to have a short show today so that we can kind of get up out of here. But you never know how this goes. You know how it always happens with us. We end up talking. So the first item on the board this morning: small business owners and brand new entrepreneurs. The mayor has signed an executive order that there will be a lot less red tape in order to start and to open a business. There won't be as much that they need to do to kind of navigate through all of those things that, they have to do, all the forms they have to fill out, and all of those long processes that delay and make it more time to, get to starting. You know, a lot of times by the time you put that paperwork out there and get started, a long time has passed by. So not only will it help the new entrepreneurs, it's going to be a little less paperwork for, you know, the ones who already exist, the small business owners. You know, big people, they got big money, they can do things the big and fast way. But when you don't really have a lot and you're trying to take your pennies and scrape them together, you know, you have to go through a couple of extra hoops. So Mayor Mamdani is really trying to encourage more people to open up businesses, trying to stimulate the economy a little bit more. And he says now you can spend more time with your customers. What say you, Lady Tamika?
I personally think it's a smokescreen. And the reason why I say that is because, you know, there's some information that I know with regard to trying to get nonprofits and, you know, small businesses, and there's still a lot of hoops. I mean, you know, maybe it's because he's still working through it, but it's a rocky road. And not only that, even if, okay, so they say, well, you got to do this, this, and this, but you need this resources for step 1, this resource for step 2, and then this resource for step 3. Well, you know, that's just as complicated. I don't have the resources to do that. That's why it's, you know, such and such. So, you know, I think that it sounds good. You know, a lot of things that are coming out, it sounds good on paper, but when you're actually out there on the street and trying to do it yourself, more than complicated.
Okay. Shantice.
I was kind of thinking the same thing. You know, so you're signing this to make it easier. How much easier is it going to be really? Is it still going to be, oh, you still have to do this, you still have to do that, but now you're trying to atomize it so that it doesn't look as difficult? You know, because it reminds me of when we went to the town hall meeting and the gentleman stood up and said, you know, people keep asking, well, where are more programs and events and things for the children? And you have people out here who want to do, but y'all make it so difficult to be able to produce things, to put things out there. It turns a lot of people off, and or something that can be put together in a month or two, it now takes a year or two. And meanwhile, nothing is being produced for these children or for the community or whatever. You know, so it's not only for small businesses, but what are you really doing to really make this process like, okay, so the most stringent thing, in my opinion, that should take place is background check. So, hi, my name is Mary Jane. I would like to start such and such business. Okay, well, let me check your record. Let me check your credentials. Let me check. Okay, cool. For those of us who have been law-abiding citizens, that should be nothing. Okay, you do that, even if the fingerprint process, even if you want to go through that, fine, whatever. But for those of us who have, you know, we know nothing's going to come up, that should be nothing. So I'm just waiting to see how easy this now is, you know, with your signature put on the dotted line, sir.
Well, the other thing that I thought about, I'm sorry, is this introduction of AI to the degree that we're having it is ridiculous. Because even if, let's just say I'm in the process, there's nobody that I can talk to. It's all systems, all systems. And it's like, how do I know to go from this point, from A1 to B3, if nobody's telling us? The only thing, the only way that I would be able to find out is when I start getting stuff in the mail that says, hey, you didn't do B. But at this point, it should have been done by March something, and I'm finding out in July. It's not fair. Right.
Terrence says it's hard to get grants. You have to look it up, and then you have to still go back to square one. So in other words, he's saying that this just is round and around and around and around process, and it just wears you out and wears you down. He also says it seems like they're still trying to get more money for the city or the government, because if you open up a small business, you have to do an LLC. Didn't spend $700 or something. And, you know, it's expensive. And that's another thing that I don't think I heard Vivian talk about, the cost, you know, shifting. But Yeah, there's a lot of red tape to open up a business, and you can understand, to some degree, but doesn't really take the amount of time that it is going to take, or it has been taking. So, for those of us who, never opened up or tried to open up a small business, will we know that the process has been shortened? How would we know? So if it takes 9 weeks now, do we know that people before it took 18 weeks? We don't know. So you just gonna have to go through the process and figure out for yourself whether this is really something that has been truncated or not. He says, yes, you have to spend $700 just to put in the papers. Now, who reads the papers nowadays? And let me tell you something, Terrence. You didn't just said a million words for this prayer walk. I've had tons of information that has gone out. People don't read. If I could tell you how many times people have said something to me, and I'm like, well, didn't you read the paperwork? And they're like, oh, it was a lot, or oh, oh no, I didn't read it. And I'm like, read. People don't like to read, and this is one of the reasons why the process takes long. I'll be straight up honest. And like I always tell y'all know I come from HR, and people don't read. I have to go through their paperwork with like a fine tooth comb, and then you got to keep going back and forth. Now, one of the things I thought about is you're going to have to hire a couple more people, but are there going to be people that could just walk you from A to Z? Come with your paperwork filled out. It has to be filled out to a certain degree. And then you just sit with somebody and they just kind of go through the paperwork with you, but not to the degree that we're going to do the paperwork for you. But it would, at the end of the day, that would really expedite things. But you're going to have to hire some people, because if you're going to leave it up to people to read, this is going to take 29 weeks when it could have only taken 9 weeks. So he says, and your business is not legit until after the 6 weeks is up, so you can get the certificates from the newspaper. Oh, and the company is crazy. It is. It's a lot of steps. And I honestly tell y'all, you make the process harder. Shantice could tell you, I've been going through hell just getting people to read stuff for the walk. Now, you talk about things that you got to open up for a new business. People want to just pay the money and open up the business. And then it becomes a mess because it's in shambles, because you didn't read all the stuff that you needed to read. And now you're going to be hit with all kinds of fines. And so this is a real complicated situation at the end of the day. But I got to tell you, I think that would be one of the most helpful things for him to hire some people that would help go through some of that paperwork, and that might expedite things for real. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, speaking of the mayor, he's proposing to change the rental application process. Landlords will pay now for the credit check, and they can't they've always supposed to been doing that. But this is an interesting thing. Either you will ask for a credit check or a proof of income. And they're going back to reiterating that the landlord should pay for the credit check. And they call it the rental ripoff report. And the application process is supposed to remove the difficulty in securing housing. And they're anticipating that this will be a better result. Woo! It will lead to stricter screening or higher rent, is what the critics are concerned with. But it has not passed. It needs approval first. Shantice, you got first dibs on this one, girl.
So they're checking for either your credit history or if you currently have income.
Yes.
So if you don't currently have income, what does it matter about your credit history? Do I get credit? Could I pay good before somewhere else? So I don't have an income now, but when you check my credit report, I have a good track record of paying creditors before. So just trust that when I do get a job, I got you. Is that how this works? This is not making sense to me as I'm reading and hearing it. I thought it was both. So he's trying to change it from being both to being either or.
Right.
That's not making much sense to me. Because what does it matter how good you were? If I'm renting space, I don't care about how you paid the person before me. I can't go to them and ask for a loan. You got to be able to pay me now. Now, it's good to know that you did before because there's a whole lot of broke people with money out here. So it should be where you're checking both. Okay, so you may have money now, but your history will expose how you handle said money. So I'm not seeing how this is supposed to be a benefit. Again, I just think this is something just to have your face in the papers again. But I don't really see too many landlords smiling about this fight. I don't see too many of them looking like this. This is the make, and then I have to pay. So I have to pay for you to not pay me. That doesn't make any sense to me. That doesn't make any sense.
All right, Lady Tamika, as a landlord, how does this new process sound to you?
Either or, but not both. Okay, so Shantice took it on the part that, okay, you check my credit, but you're not checking, my income. I'm going to take it on the other side. You check my income. Ooh, she got good money. But I'm reckless with my money. I just went yesterday to check on something. I went to the phone place, T-Mobile, to check on. I had some inquiries about Al's phone. And I was talking to the representative, and he said to me, people are crazy about their phones to the degree that they won't pay their rent because they need to make sure that they have service on their phone. So they'll pay their phone bill, but you live in wherever and you can't afford your rent. So fine, you didn't check my credit. I gotta get money. But my psyche on how to pay my bills is off. So now you're looking at both. You look at both instances. Which one makes sense? Okay, I remember handing them a little pay stub so you can see blah, blah, blah. But if I don't have the right mentality with regard to paying my money, it doesn't matter either way. So, that's a difficulty for the landlord because which one is better? Checking your credit, which means that I'm checking your past, or checking to make sure you got it, that you're getting a constant check without the mentality of paying me. Because now I'm still stuck. We had an instance where a tenant lived in our dwelling place for a year. Because of the way that this system works, you get 3 months automatically. We take you to court. There's some little, red tape, and it takes 3 months for them to go through. This is when they had that rent freeze. It took us over a year to get this one person out, and so I don't know if that's really helping. Again, I feel like here we are again. You making moves, but you on an escalator. We just moving. You going up and down. You ain't really going nowhere. We just sliding up the escalator, going back down.
Okay, so when Vivian gave the first story this morning, it triggered a thought in my head again. So when Mom Donnie was running, there were indicators that he would push regulations that would benefit his people. I'm seeing it every time his name is mentioned. I don't know about anybody else, but everything Okay, so we know that, people from the other countries, that race of people, a lot of them have a lot of businesses. They got Popeyes, they got businesses out here.
Taco Bell, Subway,
Yes, they've got businesses. So you gonna try to help them and expedite their process for getting businesses. It's not about us, it's about them.
Mhm.
Everything I keep hearing it keeps leading me back. Every time Vivian comes up here with her socially conscious segment and she's talking about another regulation here in New York City, it's them. Now, am I mad? I don't know. Because we seem to be the only people that don't look out for one another like that.
Mhm.
But what I am annoyed with is the rules that you're trying to push are, in my opinion, are not flushed out properly. You two ladies have taken it from both angles. If I want an apartment and I have money, but I don't have good history, then it should matter. As you have said, if I have good credit, but I don't have money today, it should matter. There has to be a system in place for it to make sense. I have been a landlord for the 31 years I've been in this house. I cannot imagine I'm concerned about one and not the other. Now, I see Terrence's statement that says, I think checking someone's credit to get an apartment is retarded to me. You ain't never had a person in your house you can't get out.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
Because they decided to pay their phone bill before they paid their rent.
That part.
And your mortgage is suffering, or your bills are suffering, because the whole purpose of you renting is not because I just want to be a good Samaritan, but there's something in it for me as well. So even if I have the money to pay my mortgage and this is just extra money, I don't think it should be any less of your responsibility to pay your rent, because you don't know what I'm doing with my money. That's not your concern.
Right.
You agreed that you would pay $200 a month. I have had people come to me and say to me, Steph, my car broke down. Can you hold off can I pay the rent late so we can fix our car? I've had several months. There was a time when I rented every room in my home. I've just been blessed like that, where I could still remain in my home comfortably, but still rent a space in my room, in my home. I have had months where every single one of them rooms came to me in that 1 month and said, room A says, my car broke down, I'm going to be late. 2 says, I just started a new job, I'm going to be late. 3 says, I gotta buy my baby some Pampers, so I'm gonna be late. Room 4 says, I'm just gonna be late because I'm gonna be late. See, you ain't never sat behind that situation where they're saying to me in the same explanation words that say, I know I'm the only one, but you got all the other 3 rooms going on here, so you good. Without me revealing, excuse me, it ain't only you. It's you, and you. That is real. So how can you expect a landlord? How fair is it for you to now try to push something across the table that says that you as a landlord can't do your checks and balances before you put a person into your home or your property? How dare you? So if you have money, I shouldn't care about how you didn't handle this money all along, because you come in with the money. I should not care if you have good credit. Well, you got good credit, so I don't care about the money. Because see, here's what it says now. Here it says, okay, go ahead. You listen, check this out. Pay attention, y'all. You go ahead and pay for my credit report. I ain't got to do nothing else. Does anybody else hear that but Stephanie?
Yeah.
Remember now, the responsibility of the credit check ain't even on the applicant. So you're not even saying that if you opted. Pay attention. Put that picture down, Shantice. Pay attention here. What you're saying is, all right, applicant, you can tell the landlord, check my credit because I got good credit. I ain't got to pay for that credit check. I ain't got to put no money up. And all I got to do is come up with whatever you ask me to move in, and I don't have to have a dime after that. Because you don't have to know that. You don't have to know how I'm going to pay this rent once I get up in here. Because you can't ask me that. Because all you had to do was check my credit rate. Are you crazy?
Not only
Are
that.
y'all this or are you hearing something else?
No, and I'm hearing, how is it that I have to make the investment in you coming here, but you don't have to make the investment?
That's what I'm saying.
You coming here.
But
That's
not only,
slow.
go ahead. Not only that, just the way that the New York system works, and I'm not speaking from what I heard, I'm speaking from what I know. Okay, fine. You checked my credit. You approve of me coming in there. When I get in there, I have a right to stay there a minimum of 3 months before you can even question. So that means 2 months have gone by or 3 months have gone by and I haven't paid you anything before we can go to court. And then there's another 30-day process for you. You can't just get me out. You have to tell me that I have to leave and I have 30 days to make that move. But in that time frame, I can still take you to court. So now we're looking at least a minimum of 6 months before a landlord can make a move at me, the tenant, because you check my credit only.
Right. And this does not apply. Pay attention. This is something for his people. I'm gonna tell you why. See, they'll buy a house and 100 of them will live up together because they gonna build that house, and while they all there, they gonna build another house. And that second house, when it's done, they're gonna move out into that house, and they ain't gotta worry about paying no rent to one another because they helping one another to build a house so that the next family can live in. I'm not mad at that process. What I'm mad at is now you have put on the American people this garbage. You put the American people in this seat. Because see, y'all ain't got this process to worry about because y'all take care of one another. But you have now pushed this across the table so that when you do, so remember now, they didn't build this house, they didn't build house A. So when they didn't build up a place for them to rent, now this is how you walk up in the place. Because American people ain't going to live up in their homes. They're not living in their homes. They are living in their. Are y'all following what I'm saying here? Mm-hmm. I'm an American person. I'm not going to rent a house in their place.
Right.
Because first of all, they ain't got no room because they renting it to somebody else who they know. So this ain't for, yo, catch the game. Catch the game. It's just, okay. Terrence says, to me, I think checking someone's credit. We said that already. He said, Kenny says, I was going to say the same thing, Pastor Steph. He don't care about us. It's all about what he can do for his people who own most of these businesses, and they are rude. Absolutely, Kenny. Terrence said, I said it's like that to me because if you don't pay your rent, that's not showing up on your credit report. So why put it up there? Yes, it does, Terrence. Yes, it does, my dear. That's the whole point of being able to check your credit to begin with. Because now, do you know right now that there are people who can't get an apartment because the last rent lapse is sitting on their credit report. I had a young lady tell me last year, she's got 3 kids, and she said she got jammed up. She couldn't pay her rent, and it's sitting on her credit report. Now she can't get an apartment, or it was difficult for her to get an apartment, and she's got the money, but the report says that she left a landlord hanging. Excuse me. So yeah, it does, my dear. It's sitting out there. It's sitting out there. Teresa says, then you have to make it easier to evict people. Right. You can't make it hard across the board. So this here, my father used to say, it's a game within a game. Yo, this is a game within a game. This ain't got nothing to do with the American people. The American people gonna be stuck with this nonsense. I cannot imagine you trying to push this angle. It makes no sense. So when the young lady, she was really upset. So I can't get a. I'm gonna be honest with you. I said, I feel for you as a single mother. I feel for you as a woman who, just had bad stuff happen. I said, but you can't get mad at them. You can't get mad at that landlord. He has to protect himself, and he has every right to report. Now, if he has a heart, that says, I'm mad that she left me and she didn't pay her rent, and I'm gonna just leave it alone, then that's wonderful. But you can't get mad at the man or the management company for doing something like that. The same way you upped and left him. It was like 3 or 4 months worth of rent that she left him with, or left them with. I'm like, you can't get mad. I'm sorry. I'm saying, people will know I'm fair. And as a landlord, and as I understood, and as a single mother who's struggling, who had something happen, I understand. Because I've been in a jam. Thank God for my mother who stepped in and did what she needed to do to help me and my girls. And we don't all have that. But you can't get mad. You can't get mad at the people because that's what they did. They have every right to put it on your credit report. And she was like, but that doesn't mean. I said, you're absolutely right. But don't the creditors put it on your credit report? You missed. And you're going to have to eat that. So you know what? Trust God. Do what you need to do. Let God bless you on the back end. That's the only thing I can tell you. But this is something real interesting. That there really just pushed me out there. I'm really convinced now that, he looking out for his people big time. All righty. A software glitch in the DMV mistakenly registered 6,600 non-citizens and enabled them to vote. And did I hear Vivian right when she said some of them did go to vote? Like, wow. Okay. So now they claim it was a glitch. They're looking into this They're investigating to see how, this may have happened. And ultimately, they're thinking of possibly just getting rid of the software altogether. Lady Tamika.
How in the world do you make that much of a glitch? 66,000 people.
No, 6,600.
6,600. I'm sorry. 60, and I looked at the number. But that still is like, how in the world, and non-citizens, we're not even talking about people that move from like one state to state, that have been abreast, and, you're talking about non-citizens. That's a big, gigantic move, and then you said, well, we don't think that it affected any, somebody went out there and signed their name, or, clicked and, did what they needed to do, and now you can't undo it. Now right. You want to go and backtrack. Yeah, you're going to go through all of the election to see who, was a non-citizen or not.
Right.
Whatever's done is done, and that's a sad thing. Everybody that is, affected in that area is going to have to deal with it.
Right. Ashanti's.
That wasn't a glitch. Somebody did that.
Yeah, I agree.
And look who we got in office right now. That was not a glitch. Just say someone, you don't know who, but they made their way to be able. So, all right. Maybe it's my tired brain. You talking about the Department of Motor Vehicle, right? That got non-citizens the ability to vote. They could do that through the DMV.
When they registered, when they registered, here's what happened. When they went to either register for a driver's license or a non-driver's license, their names got kicked in to be a registered voter. So you know how when you go to DMV, you always got that little piece at the bottom that says, do you want to register to vote?
Mm-hmm.
Well, supposedly 6,600 people checked that box.
Okay, so if I'm able to get my driver's or state license, there's another process. If I'm not a citizen, a U.S. citizen, I'm able to get a driver's or state license, but I'm not able to vote. There's another process in order to enable me to vote.
Mm-hmm.
So then why am I putting? Then why is the box there? Maybe it's just me. If this is a whole separate process, then that should not be able to. No. Listen, if you know what it is to go to the DMV, you can't be mixing up nothing. All right? Because just to go there for a motor vehicle thing, and this is the only thing we're supposed to be going here for, is like we're at customs. Okay? And we're only here for anything related to motor vehicles. So why are we are not that savvy as the people to be mixing boxes. I'm sorry. We're not mentally there yet. So if this is a whole separate process, I don't want to think about voting when I have to get license plates. I don't want to think about voting when I just need some type of identification. So when I walk into the bodega and I get stopped, I don't now get arrested because I don't have an ID on me. Stop mix the two. Don't be asking me about no food stamps. Don't be asking me about no welfare. Don't be asking me about nothing. Because obviously, everything's getting mixed up. Don't ask me if I want to donate an extra $1 to this fund. No, if it ain't got nothing to do with tires or anything on a car, don't ask me. Because now it done just got mixed up. It makes no, if this is a whole separate process, then that should not be an option on any form when you get there. So now we end up with this, which wasn't a mistake. Now we end up with this, and now you're tracing it back to, oh, well, when they check the box, and I can guarantee you, if we go back to the thing, when people check that box, because I remember
they did it. That was a problem. They said it was a computer glitch that automatically registered them to vote.
So how is there a glitch when the box ain't just see what I'm talking about? So now you got this unnecessary box here. Now the unnecessary box was not checked because nobody cares. Because I remember seeing this, okay, and I got mad just looking at it because you talk. Let's go back real quick. You talk about reading, right? This is why a lot of people don't like to go to church because you got to read. Okay, so now, I already got all of this stuff that I have to read. If I'm just now getting an ID, if the only time you don't have to read as much is if you're renewing your license. If I'm getting a permit, if I'm getting a brand new license, there's a lot of reading that comes along with that. Okay, so now I'm seeing this unnecessary option here. I don't want to. No, shut up. No, so you bypass that. Okay, so you don't check it. So now there's a glitch on a bunch of things that wasn't even checked. Y'all would have did better shutting up. Y'all did better just shutting up and just letting y'all be blamed. Let us come up with our own theory as to how these people got registered to vote, because this makes absolutely no sense, and it shows that y'all got some type of person on the inside that's doing these things, and y'all don't want to expose them, which makes all of y'all sus, not just this one person.
It's also funny that on that same form is the blood registry. You know,
I was gonna say,
donation,
yep,
as well as organ donation.
Yeah.
Why didn't it fall along those lines? You only had the voting part, but that's also on that same form.
Yep.
So why didn't you put them on the blood registry or
Yep.
the organ donation?
Yep. I was gonna say the same thing when she was renting. I was gonna say there's a couple other areas there that you can opt for when you said don't put all of this on it. Don't forget the organ donation and don't forget the blood drive.
Right.
So there's a whole lot of things going on this application for DMV. Let me go to the comments first. Katie says, I agree, Teresa, it has to be a balance. That's about our other conversation. Terrence says, I can bet you any amount of money it's Trump's people who voted. And Katie says, it's funny how they found out after the election, and look who we have. Terrence says, I have not agreed with you in the wild Shanties, but I agree now. So several things that I thought about here. When Vivian said it was a glitch, I'm saying to myself, well, one ain't got nothing to do with the other. So how would it possibly? So to answer your issue, Shanties, let me just say this first. Everything, they're trying to get us voting. So everywhere you look, there will be voter registration questions. I've been in the weirdest places filling out the application for something. I want to go to the moon, and they're asking me, are you a registered voter? Would you like to register now? So it's a very common thing. They want to register people to vote. We are actually having a voter registration table at the conference this weekend. So we, again, trying to get people to vote, especially in our community, where if you're not voting for president, they ain't voting. So we just had the big, local council, assembly, people. Most people didn't go out to vote. And we're trying to get them to understand that this is where it really matters, because these are the people that speak for our community. So we definitely want to choose who's doing all of that. Okay, so when they show up for New York, and then New York City, and then for Queens, Manhattan, Brooklyn, you want to choose that right person. So they have voter registrations everywhere. So when I heard this thing about this glitch, I'm like, how could this possibly be a glitch? Because one has nothing to do with the other. It's a perforated piece of paper that you tear off. Right. It goes into one box, and DMV's app goes into another box. They hold on to that, and they put that in another area. So if you don't check it, it should never be checked. Right. Not only that, how do you check this out? It was said that not only were people registered to vote by accident, but then some people who were in that category actually went and voted. So here's the next problem. So I don't just have to register to vote in order to get to the ballot and be able to vote. There's some in-between stuff that I got to do. So in other words, I just don't pick, yes, I want to register, and then all of a sudden I can go to the office, to the election site, the voting site, and say, my name is Stephanie Griffin, I'm here to vote. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
There's some stuff that I have to do after I check off, they send me papers, or I have to go online. Who's doing all of this stuff here that actually not only registered you to vote, but enabled you to vote? Y'all better pay attention to this stuff here, because when Vivian said some people actually went and voted, I was like, how? You don't just get the ability to vote because you register to vote. You have to go through the process. There's no way in the world that it's as simple as that. So, and check this out, especially now with Trump throwing out everybody in this country who is not a citizen. So how are they possibly slipping through the cracks? This ain't, I'm with Shanti, this ain't no glitch. This was an open door policy. Go ahead to the DMV and everybody we just gonna push everybody through. 6,600. Do you realize what 6,000? Put 6,000 people in one area and look at how many of those people. That's crazy. And I'm with you, Ketty, because I was trying to figure out, well, when did this glitch happen? Two votes ago? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
all right, well, when we talking like this one that just passed where we were voting for local people? Because everybody everywhere were voting for local people. This wasn't our governor. This wasn't our mayor. It wasn't our senator. This was local people. You really had to have in your mind to go to the voting site, the voting site. This had to be intentional. Would you agree, Lady Tamika? Because these are the people that you had to get to know in your hood. That you said, all right, you know what? I've been watching Mary Jones and John Black and, Joe Schmo. I've been watching them and I've been seeing the little traction they've been gaining. You saw them. There were several little local events going on and you saw them walking around and shaking hands. And so you really had to be intentional if you went to the voting site this time. So I doubt, Lady Tamika, that this 6,600 people happened this time. Because it wouldn't really matter this time. So this is very interesting. Tammy says the government had to mention that it was a glitch. Let's not forget we all investigating Trump for tampering with the voters. There's an answer, he's getting away scot-free. Now he's going to use that as an excuse. Yep, of course. Or if he's a part of this oops, and now it kind of smothers his stuff. You know what I'm saying? So there's some interesting stuff going on. But I tell you one thing, we really need to pay attention, Lady Tamika, to what's happening here. Because all of these oops ain't an oops. Ain't nowhere in the world. This is an oops. It is completely disconnected. And, again, I was just saying yesterday, and I'll go back to earlier, about the rules. People, whether it makes sense or not, people really sit back and think of rules. And there's a reason why everywhere you look, you see voter registration. Because they're trying to grab people everywhere. Because, see, like I said, like for argument's sake, on Saturday when we have the conference, we're grabbing young people who are there. We can be in their ear now. We can now, kind of talk to them about the importance of voting, where they're not going to listen to the teacher talk about the importance of voting. But if you in your element and they're like, yeah, you know what, you should really vote. Come on, here's the app. Come on, you 18 now. How important it is that you render your voice. How important it is that you waited 18 years to have something to say over here about this. So come on, you don't like this park, then guess what? You can actually vote. Because whether you all realize it or not, and I'm going to talk about this for a quick second, and we could dialogue about this. I was at an event and I helped a woman. I can't remember what this was called, and I just spoke to her yesterday because she's going to be at the conference. But so here's the way it works. So go back. It's funny. This comes up with the other, I think, number one. So there's millions of dollars that go into your borough that is allocated for nonprofit and things that should help the community. So it's not really a money-making entity so it's not for businesses, but it's for like different organizations and services. So what happens is you have all these companies at one point, all these organizations can now throw their hat into the ring and say, put my garden in the ring, put my art museum in the ring, put my double Dutch club in the ring. They, whatever they feel is going to benefit the community, they throw into that bucket. And a group of people, a committee, they will sit down and they will sift through these thousands of applications, if you will. They don't have to pay for anything. They just have to put out there a design for their organization and their program. And they pick 10. And now you vote for the 10. So you, me as a Queens resident, I vote for what's happening in Queens. You, Tamika, vote for the things that went into the ring for Brooklyn. And what they do is they then determine which organizations get the money that's coming into your borough based on our vote. So they select the options, but they have no say in who actually gets the money. I never even realized this existed until I sat with this, person who was, and I was like, this goes on? I didn't know nothing about this. And yeah, so I'm letting you all know that I think it ended, what was that? A Father's Day, June. It ended in June. The voting ended in June. And the June 30th was the last day. And they now take the people's vote to actually push which 3 organizations get those billions of dollars. So we now have an art museum because the people in the community thought that an art museum would be good there. The Double Dutch Academy would be there. The Science Academy, whatever it is. And it was a very interesting process that you know nothing about. So this is the kind of stuff that I thought was really good to help because we had like a group of people, young people come to the table. And I think you had to be 12. As long as you were 12 and older, you could vote. And you didn't have to be a registered voter. So this was a nice segue into teaching them the importance of voting. So that's why I said, that's why voter registration needs to be everywhere, because now you don't want to have this conversation with little Pookie and then Pookie go, yeah, I'm a register, and then he walks off and he never registers. Right then and there, you get that registration checked off. So hopefully he'll follow through. But so this is really important that we teach our young people everywhere we can go, everywhere we can, gather, we teach them about voting. Because this has been a long process for the African American people. And every time you turn around, they're saying they're still looking to take our rights off the table to vote. Now, to even be in 2026 and hear that they still have to fight for us to vote is madness. But you want to make sure you learn these things and that you're teaching these things. This stuff is important. And so Shanti's, that's the answer. One of your questions as to why this voter registration stuff is everywhere, because they've got to grab people at every opportunity. When you go in the social services office, at the bottom of that application, would you like to register to vote? Everywhere you go, I tell you, there was, I don't know. Oh, my health insurance. I had to renew my health insurance. in December for the new year for 26. And what do you think was on the bottom of that application? Would you like to register to vote? So they're going to keep that in our faces, but they're going to have to do much more, much better. But that ain't no glitch. I agree with y'all 100%. That was the gate was left wide open so that everybody could slide underneath the radar. All right, Terrence says, I know about that. When I was playing basketball, they used to give some programs some money to fix up the park or gym that's inside the pool as well. Yes, that's where your money goes. That's where the money goes. We get money in each of our boroughs, and that's where our money goes. So you need to pay attention to this here. He says also, and that's how you see a lot of people having those block parties with selling the food trucks, fruits, and all this other stuff. They get the money from them as well. No, money doesn't go there. I know, because baby, we done just been through this process. The block parties and things like that, those are not funded at all. At they give small amounts of money to the farmers market. Those people get money. So other little entities, you are right, they can apply to get money. And this is why our votes matter, because the more voters we have, the more money they have to push into our area, because there's more people who are concerned. See, the less people that show up at the voting site, they ain't got to send no money. Guess why? Because we don't know whether we getting money or not. We ain't paying attention. We're not involved. That's why all of this stuff matters. All righty. Last but not least, out in Ohio, the lawmakers, check this out, have passed the Success Sequence. And that's a program in the public schools that encourages students to follow a path. And the path is go graduate, get a good job, then get married, and then have children. Now, I don't know if this is going to be a class per se, but this is something that they're going to teach. And well, it has to be a class, because this is something that they're going to, this is definitive. This is not, we're just going to pass out some pamphlets. They're liking it. They're connecting it to when we used to get sex ed in school, which that must have been before because I didn't get sex ed in school. And I was born in the 60s. So, that was, I guess, the baby boomers who got sex ed in school. And they're liking it to this success sequence. And a lot of people are saying that, hey, that's like pushing religion. That's not necessarily your business. How people handle their lives is how they handle their lives, and that should be left up to their family. Teach math, history, science, English. That's what you stick to. Stay out of this area. Which way do you vote? So I would love to see what comes up in the chat room. Shantice, you got first leg on this one.
I really don't think people are paying attention to what's going on out here. Yes, school is supposed to be about just reading, math, science, lunch, gym, don't push Shorty Tim, all of that. But because now you have teachers recruiting students for LGBT, because you got drag queens reading to the children, because you have satanic clubs in the schools, because you have all of these other unnecessary things being implemented with no memo going out to the parents that this is what we're going to be introducing to your child or your children. There has to be things like this implemented. Because what makes you think that you can only push your agenda? And now no one else can push the agenda on the opposite end. So you're saying one thing and now they're saying, okay, well, You talking about let them live their lives. Them living their lives is them pushing all the other stuff that I just mentioned. So this is no difference than sexual education, because I had sex ed in, I believe it was high school, and even though they weren't pushing abstinence directly, they were pushing abstinence. Well, couldn't you look at abstinence as you pushing quote unquote religion? Yes, because even in the Christian faith, if you follow the faith and not the tradition, you're taught to be abstinent until God pairs you with the partner that He has for you. So this is pretty much doing that. They're just using the direct words. If you're paying attention to the type of students that are in school now, if you pay attention to the home life now, a lot of the times it's because this process wasn't followed, not all of it, that a lot of these things are going on. So I don't necessarily see anything wrong with it at all. My only question is, what marriage are you pushing? That was my only question. Other than that, I don't necessarily see anything wrong with that.
Okay. Lady Tamika, which way do you go?
I say we go back to the basics. A lot of the stuff that we have now is because we didn't follow the guidelines. We didn't follow the rule plan. You know, my thing is, you can't get them to church. So take some portions of what we know as the word and bring it there, because you look at, okay, so what's the basic? Can you give that to me? It's graduate, get a good job, get married. Is that right?
It's let me not get off the top of my head. It's graduate, get a good job, get married, and then have children.
Okay. All right. So just looking at that, look at all of the lives that have been affected. A lot of people never graduated, you know, and in that portion, they had children. So life automatically takes on a different plane, because at that point you're already having children. Or you graduate, you don't have a good job, and now you have a child. Now you got that issue. There again, the life takes on another plane. You graduate, you have you graduate, you get a good job, you didn't get married, you got children. So now again, you know, you see how well or how easy it can become haywire. If you follow the plan that way, in most cases, now I'm not going to say it's 100% of the time, but in most cases, you don't have as much work that you have to do. There's so much extra work that you have to play out when you divert from any of that. And that doesn't necessarily, it's teaching Bible principles, but I mean, it's not as haywire, because I look at half of the people that I know that didn't follow that game plan, and I'm looking at their life and I go, oh, wow, you know, just on that plane in itself.
All right, we got to check in from Adele. Hey, Adele. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Adele says, right. All right. Miss Grace says, I don't see anything wrong with that. I went to school, got a job, then got married, and I grew up in church, so I think it's a plus. Ketty says, you don't want to teach the Bible, but you want to teach how to be in a relationship. What kind of sense is that? Adele says, marriage is not all it's all cracked up to be. Since they're making this law, I want to see how the divorce rate is going to be. All right. So you and Shantice both say that you think, you know, there's nothing wrong with it. I personally don't agree. Stick to what you know. We just not that long ago, we did we talked about how the children couldn't even read. Now they about to graduate from high school, but they couldn't even read. And we're not talking about no big words. We're talking about this kid who went around and just asked his classmates to read what was on a card, which was very simple. They couldn't read it. So you haven't even mastered helping our children to read. You're graduating these children and they can't even read. Now that's been your assignment from day one. Since the school system has been in effect, this has been your assignment. And you have not successfully pushed our children to read. So let's go with the sequence. Graduate, get a good job, get married, and have children. I personally just got finished saying to Teresa yesterday, girl, y'all better get this education and stuff before you get married and have kids, because once that comes into the equation, it shifts everything. Because now I'm looking at how many parents are now chasing their education because they need more earning power and the kids ain't getting homework done. Because you can't do it all because you're going to school, because you're trying to run the house, you try to take care of the kids, and all of that stuff ain't happening. So now the children take a back seat because now you need more earning power and you didn't take advantage of it when you could have. I just said this to her yesterday. We just happened to be talking. So my thing is, you focus on helping them to graduate. You be a part of that sequence as effectively as you can possibly be. I don't need you teaching my kid about marriage and having kids. Why? It goes back to what Shanti said, because we're not teaching our children marriage the way God initiated marriage. So when you teach my children marriage, you want to teach my children all about all types of marriages. And I may not agree with that. So having kids. So fostering, adopting is a form of having children. Because I say the same thing to anybody else. You want to adopt, you want to, wait till after you got everything done so these kids can get the proper attention, because they already coming from some dysfunction. You don't want to bring them into dysfunction. So you haven't successfully done your job in your area. I don't agree that they need to be involved with the entire process of literally having a class to teach this. That means you ain't teaching the reading. So how about we do reading 1 and reading 2? That'll be the 2 classes. But you got reading 1, that's not working. And now instead of going into reading 2, you got the sequence of life. Nah, I'll pass. No, thank you.
But my thing is, it's scary because we're looking at these parents and, oh gosh, if somebody doesn't teach them, then that means I follow the sequence that I see in my home. You know, and maybe I'm saying that because I did have, you had sex education and we talked about those things. We also had classes that taught us, how to build your finances, how to work with, a spouse, how to work with children. We had the exposure. They didn't give us everything because you never really know what's going to happen, especially until you become an adult. You don't know what you're going to come in contact with, but at least I had something that says, okay, if you've got, 6 apples and, those type of things to make it make sense when I got there.
All right, so you and Shantice had sex ed. What do they teach in sex ed?
They taught, I can remember. They taught about, of course, the sexually transmitted diseases. They spoke about abstinence. They not too heavy on the abstinence. And I believe because their main focus was to teach us how to protect ourselves. They were real heavy on going about the types of the diseases. So this is chlamydia and this is what it looks like. this is gonorrhea and this is what it looks like. So almost like it will scare you into abstinence. Like, yeah, I don't want to walk around looking like no herpes bump. So let me just not engage. So they were really heavy on that. I vaguely remember there being some dialogue even about like dating. For some reason, I'm like vaguely remembering that. So that would kind of teeter on the whole getting along well with others, and how do you talk to someone, and how do you even get to the point of where you want to have sex? Like, I'm vaguely kind of remembering that. But of course, because everybody want to act like they were having money, I didn't have that in the curriculum every year. So I think like 1.5 years of high school, we had that. But had they really been gun-ho about that, the world would have probably been a much better place during that time, because they always seemed to get the right person to teach that. You didn't get the corny person. You didn't get the person who was too much. It was like the perfect person to teach sex ed. So that's what I remember in the 2.5
Tamika,
years.
do you remember anything? Okay, thank you. Do you remember anything different, Lady Tamika?
Well, I went to a parochial school, so they actually did hone in on, abstinence. That was their main focus. They told us, just like she did, just like she said, about the different types of diseases, how to engage with individuals, in relationship, I remember them talking about dating, and even, our basic or our focus was more abstinence. They did give us the videos and things like that were gory and scary. And she was right. Everybody can't teach sex education, because you never know, especially with the youth, what type of questions would come out. They stayed basic. They didn't get in depth because there's a lot that you can go, but they did stay basic, and they focus more on abstaining.
Okay. Alrighty. Before I respond, Adele says, I don't like it. You know what I'm gonna say? This is this is gonna end up being a scam. And she says, what's in it for the government? They're making this law. Facts, Pastor Steph. These kids can barely read. I want to see the fine print on the marriage certificate. Yep. Teresa says they taught on how bodies change during puberties and how babies are made.
Correct.
So here's my answer to what you said. They taught safe sex. Okay.
Yes. I agree.
Thank you, Teresa, for weighing in on what they taught. So here's how I respond to you, Lady Tamika, which is why I asked. Like the home is in such turmoil. They're just going to follow the pattern that they're taught. I still say stick to what you know. I think all of the things that y'all talked about that take place in sex ed, bring sex ed back. Because again, here's the problem. You open up that door, you cannot close that door. And I am definitely concerned, like you said, for those who are coming out of that dysfunctional home, and they're going to follow the pattern that they, are seeing just head on. And, because we see it all the time. It happens all the time. This is what you see. You think this is correct, or you just fall into that pattern, like, where you come from. But again, I say, if you open up that door, you will not be able to close that door. You're going to open up that door to so many things. And now it's going to be a hard time closing that door on a lot of things that the school system they've allowed. We've heard the school system in some schools, they allow you to walk up in there at 5 and tell them that you're going to tell them, the little 5-year-old going to tell them what sex they are. We've talked over these years, we've talked all about this ability as to what is going, the school has. And I think it's a much more dangerous game to open up that door. And then that's how the satanic after school programs got in. But yet you can't go up in there with a Bible, all of this kind of stuff. So it's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope, and I do understand. I do agree, that the school should be a nice place, a good place, a safe place to kind of go through this, what do they call it? The success sequence. But because they got some stuff that we don't necessarily agree with, I'd rather take my chances, because that's really not going to be a good thing.
But it's crazy how the schools are willing to do this before the churches. The churches are not willing to sit and talk about, that's because half of them ain't successful. But they're not willing to sit and talk about the success sequence, because that now means you become domesticated. And to become domesticated means you got to now talk about things that's forbidden to talk about in church. Like how you want your church to be populated. How all these people get here? What does that mean? You want the church, you want people to come, and you want people to bring their kids and all of that. And we always say, but we don't teach these kids in church. The streets will teach them. And now you have to start telling them things younger and younger and younger. I have an 11-year-old niece. At 11, my mother didn't have to tell me certain things. At 11, I got to make sure I talk to my niece about certain things. And the first thing I ask her is, did you hear about such and such? Because a lot of times these kids can put you on to some stuff.
Yep.
Like, wait, what's that?
Yep.
And like, oh, that's this. I'm like, wait, that goes on? Like you are completely oblivious, as if you live on a whole other planet. But
absolutely.
They're able to do X, Y, and Z plus X, Y, and Z. So it's really interesting that the schools are willing to do this, but the churches shy away from this. Really concerning.
We had the first year of the conference, and I spoke to a pastor, and I said to her, God is leading me to talk about a subject that is taboo in the church. And that's how it started. And she picked up on it right away. And we dialogued heavily for about 4 or 5 months. And when it was time for the conference, God gave me a way to introduce it into the conference. And what we did was I lowered the lights and I played the Bible Experience, the Song of Solomon. And I don't know how many of you know about the Bible Experience, but the Bible Experience is a narration of the Bible in NIV version, but it's all the popular people we know, all the actors and entertainers and some athletes and some clergy, some popular clergy. And this was put together by someone in the entertainment industry in Hollywood, Black person. As a matter of fact, it was Kim Phil's mother. It's her baby. And they did a phenomenal job with choosing. And Pauletta and Denzel Washington was Solomon and the female voice in the Song of Solomon. So God had me lower the lights and I played the Bible Experience. And they spoke very sensually. They read the Bible very sensually, the touch of my breasts and exactly what the Bible reads, what the Bible reads. And it was to set the tone for what was going to be spoken about. So in other words, you can say, oh, that's not in the Bible. I not only played the Bible, but I played it in the tone that it was meant to be relayed in. And she spoke. I was there for every word she said. And there were people from the church who were like, oh, I can't believe she talked like that. And oh, she shouldn't have said that. That's why our children and our adults are still doing stuff they have no business doing, because they're dealing with their hormones. their flesh and their spirit is all off. They want to try to do right. They want to try to abstain. But listen, what's going to play louder? Your body and your loins going all over the place, or the Bible that you only go to on Sunday or Sabbath? And some people really, they didn't like it. And I didn't care, because I did exactly what God wanted us to do.
Yes.
Because the rest of the room, when I tell you the rave reviews that came from that, not just the presentation of lowering the lights, not just the presentation of playing what was in the Bible that they could have very well followed in their Bible, but the overall presentation, it got rave reviews. And they were like, this is the thing that the church does not talk about. This is what we should talk about. And here we are. Because guess what? We got that conversation going on again this year. Shantice is leading the walk for abstinence. And we're going to have a presentation on that whole topic. Because the church, they are suffering. They are suffering. The word of God says, my people perish for lack of knowledge. So you're going to let the world talk about sex to people, but the church won't talk about sex to people? Yo, you're not doing your job. So we do have a presentation this year. And when I tell you she's bringing it, as always, she's bringing it. And it's always brought very passionately, but thorough. And I really appreciate her presentation. So you're right. The schools are now stepping in, because there's some church people in the school, y'all. You know what I'm saying? And they're trying to, infuse. God is being very creative in how he's getting this stuff in, and I understand, that I just want it to be the right way across the board. And I know it won't be, because we just don't seem to prevail, in that area. But if we're going to prevail and we're going to be able to push this thing and do it right, and we're going to be introducing no LGBTQ behavior to the young kids, because they going through it and they trying to find their bodies and say all of that stuff, now you ruin a good plan. Because my thing is, just teach them what it is. Stop teaching them and planting things in their head. And some of them do come from, homosexual homes. But you can't fight everything at the same time. You got to pick your struggle. Which one do you want to address? So that's why it doesn't get my vote. Not because it's not a good idea, but because we opened the door, baby, for a whole lot of things to be kind of sliding through those cracks. And before we slide through those cracks, I'm like, let everybody take care of their own, and let's do what we need to do. My Due Time crew, thank you so much. As always, I love having these conversations with you ladies. And we thank you for your contribution, and we pray you have a blessed weekend. This is my last time seeing you for the week. Have a wonderful conference on your end, Lady Tamika.
Thank you. I'll be praying for you guys as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Same here. So enjoy. Thank you so much. And we will see you next week, Wednesday. God's spares.
Amen.
We'll be back a week from today. Okay. So that gives you a chance to come back and get yourself calm and get the reset on. It gives us an opportunity to clean the house from all the shirts. And to reset, because you have a big weekend. These conferences are huge, regardless of what your focus is. There's a lot of work that goes into these conferences. There's a lot of prayer. There's a lot of, emptying out that goes into these conferences, and it's draining. It drains you, and God is draining us for a reason. So your conference, praying that it's blessed, it reaches the Virginia region. And knowing that, God is there, he's going to bless and do a great thing. So love you. Have a wonderful time.
Love you guys.
All righty. Thank you. Oh, here we are, y'all. Here we are. Ended up talking about the conference, and Adele says the church is definitely suffering. Yes, we are. And that's part of the Breaking the Yoke community conference. It was initially a women's conference because that's what we do every year. And we pulled on another entity. So now we kind of expanded it. So this year, I don't know what God is going to do going forward, but this year it's the Breaking the Yoke community conference. We could not remove that first piece, breaking the yoke. You know, our conference this year is focused on prayer in the community and all of the things, the health and social issues that our communities are plagued with. And we are really, really, really just going before the Lord in a group and asking God to just cover our community. You know, we have 9 paths we are taking. That's going to cover a lot of territory because each group will walk for an hour, stopping and praying along the way. And God is, again, doing some big things because everybody will land in Baisley Pond Park, where there will be an explosion of God in a lot of different shapes, forms, and fashions. So the theme this year is Let the Healing Begin. We're all coming to one point where we're going to all reach out for one another and really go to God on the healing of all of these things. We're talking about, let me open it up before I start calling out stuff and I forget. I definitely want to, get to all of our awarenesses. We are praying and walking for sobriety and smoking cessation. Those cigarettes, that vaping is going to kill us. It is killing us. That drug and alcoholism, it's been killing us. We're walking and praying for child care support for the neurodivergent, autism, ADHD, dyslexia. We're walking and we're praying for sickle cell and blood disorders. We're walking and praying for gun violence. We're walking and praying for suicide, domestic violence and abuse, elder neurocognitive degenerative disorders, management of care of Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, TBI. We are praying and walking for social media health. We talk about all the challenges that take place on TikTok that are killing our children. We actually have people walking and praying against that. We have a walking and praying for insecurity and inferiority complex, that poor self-esteem. We talked about that just yesterday, about how these passionate parents are now pushing children and have pushed children into some level of insecurity. And now they're afraid to speak and afraid to move and do certain things without being criticized. We're walking and we're praying for autoimmune diseases, lupus, fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, diabetes, vitiligo. We're walking and we're praying for all types and levels of cancer, bullying, including cyberbullying. We're walking and praying for mental health, bipolar, anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, PTSD, anything in that category. We are walking and praying for cardiovascular and heart health. We're praying for abstinence. We're walking for abstinence. We're praying and we're walking for stalking and human/sex trafficking. There is very little we're not covering here. Very, very, very little we're not covering here. And we are inviting you still. Shartice, make sure that phone number is up, please, and running. We are inviting you to join us. As a matter of fact, let me take a minute and I'll put the phone number in the comment section so you don't have a reason. And like I said, I'm really pushing this phone number because the other day from a single mom, she was, beside herself, trying to scramble and reach someone to get to the walk. She said, I saw it on Facebook, but my internet was shaky, so it came on, and I took a quick picture of it, and I was trying to get it in, to get the information in. She said, but then I realized all I had to do was just call. There was a phone number there. And that's why I tell people phone numbers are essential. You know how many times I've seen people's flyers, and I'm like, where's the contact information? They put it on Facebook and they want you to DM them. That's whack. I'm sorry, because everybody does not have or use social media, but they can forward it, or somebody else can see it and send it to them. You know, we gotta put phone numbers, find a phone number, get a Google number, do something. You know, I don't want to give up my personal number. Then you're not ready. You're not ready. You're not ready for this, because I don't want to put my personal number out there. Then get another phone. Get another phone and do what you do. But you cannot promote something that you say is a ministry, but yet the people have no contact information. This is essential. And I know tomorrow the number, and for the next couple of days, the number will probably be blowing up, because the general does not have my personal phone number, but this number reaches my personal phone number. It comes through my personal phone number. That way I don't have to carry 2 devices and all of that kind of stuff. But listen, we need you to be there. We need you to be there. This is so important. This is so important. Everybody, I just named you 17 or 16. I didn't read the last one because we have no traction for that one. But we have 16 I just read. Everybody has something that falls into their lap. Something that falls into their lap. So figure it out. And if you can't, join us anyway. Excuse me, because something is going to come forth that's going to bless you. I know it is. I really quickly before we go, you know, God has already told me that this is the launching pad for connections, and how I move forward. A lot of what I'm doing today to prepare for this conference is going to benefit the ministry that He's given me and what He will give me past this July 25th. We will be doing rapid HIV and STD testing. We will be. So that just came up a little while ago in our conversation. And we have a clinic that will be administering it. And she came over, the representative came over the other day to drop off materials for us to put in the bags. When I tell you that the Lord just started speaking to me for her directly. And the stuff that I was saying, I couldn't even believe was coming out of my mouth. But it was like, I said, this is something that God, I could look at her and just tell. And she just started crying. And I said to her, I said, God is about to change some things in your life. I said, you've been talking to Him without realizing you're talking to Him. And because He wants to address your issues, He's going to start moving. So expect a shift, expect a transition. And I said, you've been asking God for some things. You've been yearning for some things, some change, right? I said, something is happening with you right now that you're not satisfied with the status quo. You want to make some movement. And she said, yeah. And I said, now that could be for anybody, pretty much, because most will have goals. I said, but this is different. And I got a little more personal. And she said, you're right, Pastor Steph. It's already begun. It's already begun. It's already begun. The woman who called the other day, scrambling to get to someone for this conference. She was like, I'm a single mother. I'm a mother and a father to my girls. And I want to make sure they're there because I want them to see positive role models. Now, she could have taken her children to any place to see a positive role model, but she called the number attached to this conference. Now, here's the thing that she doesn't know. This conference was initially designed to highlight women. And God says, I'm putting my women up on the pedestal, and I'm going to say and show this is what I can do. Because there's not one woman who has ever spoken at this conference who has not had, a testimony. Every single, they leave your mouths hanging open each and every time. And here she is saying she wants to bring her children to a place where she wants that support. She says this is what, she's been able to give them, but she wants more for her girls. And she said, I have to be there. She said, I don't care what I do. I have to bring my girls there. She doesn't know anybody. She's not connected to anybody. And that's what made me ask her, where'd you hear about the conference? And she said on Facebook, and I almost dropped. I have not posted on Facebook in weeks. I don't know where it came from. But she was on Facebook scrolling. And she said, as soon as I saw it, I knew I needed to call. I knew I needed to reach out. That's what she said. And she said, she said, and the internet just kept blinking, going off and on, off and on, off and on, off and on. And she said, someone just told her, take a quick picture. And she was like, how am I going to get in touch now? Because now she doesn't have internet, so she can't DM whoever, I guess, whose page it was. And she said, wait, why don't I just call? And I was like, look at God. That was the same night the representative came here and I spoke to her and prayed with her. The Lord just opened up all kinds of doors the other day. The window of heaven just opened up and all the stuff just came dropping down. We got donations. We got we got so many things that we've been asking for. So if you cannot come out and be with us, lift us up in prayer. Because we're praying that we touch so many lives. We have an order for 100. I think Shantice confirmed this or not. I believe it was like 160 some odd shirts. And that means we only had a few people who ordered shirts who were not going to be there. So all of these people plan to be there. And that's not counting the people that, because it's an open park. So we don't have it can't be roped off. So, and that's not what we want anyway. We want the music and the sound of prayer, and we want the words that are going out to just reach this. This park is huge. This is a big park. And we're trusting that it will draw so many people to God, not to us. We're only the representatives, but to God himself, that they will listen and hear God, that they will see God through the dance routines, that they will see God through the fashion expo, that they will see God. So Shantice is saying yes, about 160 some odd shirts that are being worked on. They're not finished yet, but that's almost 200 people. Okay. And that is amazing because, like I said, we had a few people that ordered shirts who just wanted to support. They said, I'm so sorry I can't be there, but I want to order a shirt. And that's very few. Most people who are ordering those shirts are coming out. And Shantice found that somebody ordered and sent money in for shirts, and it's past the deadline. So you always have the stragglers, you always have the latecomers, and next year, God spares, there will be a walk. I'm telling you, just get ready. Just get ready. Just get ready. So that, because this cutoff date is going to be much different. Shame that we are still, Shantice is still working on shirts, and it's the week of. Days, we got 3 more days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it'll be here, God spare our life. 3 more days. and she's still working on shirts. So hopefully y'all pray that she can get rid of these shirts, get them out of here, and that the people will have their shirts. They'll show up early on Saturday morning, and they are prepared to walk from their one of 9 locations, that they will touch people in the community, that with these shirts, it's going to draw attention as to what you're doing. So whether the line is for 8, 9, 10 people, or a line of 30 somewhere, a line of 12 another place, a line of 15 another. I believe our mental health team is that. Confirm that for me, Shantice. I think it's the mental health team is the largest team. And then we have, I think it's domestic violence. And Adele, you always hear us talking back and forth, chattering with Adele. Adele is the captain of our domestic violence team. Oh, cancer is the biggest, awareness team that we have. But I tell you, we got a lot of people for mental health, and we got a lot of people for domestic violence. So we got our flags that are being made. We're really preparing for a phenomenal day. I'm tired physically, I'm drained mentally and emotionally, but I am so charged for what God is going to do on July 25th. I can only ask you to please join us if you can. If you cannot physically join us, pray for us. Lady Tamika says, not to mention people who have not purchased shirts who will be present. Absolutely right. All those people who are coming through, because we have a team that's a team that's walking, and most of them don't have shirts. Only 3 of them have shirts, because they came on late and they didn't push the shirts because that would really inundate us. And again, we have the people who will be in the park, who will be walking over, and who will be joining us. And we are so excited. So bring your beach chairs, your lawn chairs, your, picnic chairs. Bring your blankets and sheets and get comfortable, but be ready to jump up and sing. We have a concert as the finale from Ainsley, from our brother Ainsley and his, I don't know what he's calling his band these days, but at one point they were the What Band. I don't know. I forgot to ask him so I can make the announcement today. But Brother Ainsley is bringing his band members, and and let me tell you something. And a musician he is a bad musician. He's good. He is really, really good. So I can't wait to have this. We're going to have a good time, and I'm inviting you to join us. So again, if you cannot physically join us, please keep us lifted in prayer. And we are looking forward to coming back next week, Wednesday. We will not be back Monday. We will not be back Tuesday, but we will be back on Wednesday, okay? We need a chance to recuperate. And like I said, Lady Tamika is actually a big part of a conference for her church that's taking place out in Virginia. So she's got to go out there and do all the work as she's been working here. And once she gets out there, she's got to work, and then she got to come all the way back to New York and recuperate. So that was part of the planning of when do we return to It's Due Time. And she's a big part of the lineup of the crew, the Due Time crew. So wanted to give everyone just a time to not only that, but to kind of bask in how great, because let me tell you something. One of the things I do know, when you catch hell, and I'm saying it just the way it is, when you catch hell prior to planning something for God, that's because the enemy is on your heels. He is trying to sabotage your plan. I had somebody say to me the other day, well, they say if you can plan something for God and and it goes through smoothly and you don't get no problems, something wrong. Because if the enemy ain't after you, well, Lady Tamika has told me about some of the challenges briefly that she's experiencing, and that's only her. That's not even counting the pastor and whoever's a part of the planning committee. When I tell you, I have been going through literal hell over here. Literal hell from everywhere. But like I said, God is still moving. We have gotten a phenomenal level of donations of water. And, somebody may think light of that, but I'm going to tell you something. We're going to be out there in that sun. We're starting from about 11:15, 11:30, and we're going straight through to 6. We don't know who we're going to have outside of these 160 people. We don't know how many we're going to possibly have. We're definitely going to have 200 people. I do know that because the other team is definitely at somewhere 30, 40 people. So we're definitely going to have at least 200 people. So that's a lot of water. That's a lot of water. And, we are preparing a nice lunch. We're preparing a nice breakfast refreshments. So, there's a lot that's going into this. So, that's why I said we need your prayers. We need your prayers. We need you to, take us before the Lord and just pray our strength so that, we can push through. Physically, I always tell y'all, physically, I'm not where you are. I'm already coming into this with a deficit, and the Lord has been amazing because I'm working for him. So he's given me some, ability to work where I'm like, I'm still standing because it's for him. Only what you do for Christ will last. All right. So I'm going to end this. You already know we're closing down. It's due time. It's Pastor Steph signing off. I want to say God bless each and every one of you, especially those of you who have reached out and supported. I wish I could see a lot more of you on Saturday, but I'm okay. I'm okay with that's your decision, your ability, your interest. I'm okay. Let God be God in your life. Listen to God. Be obedient. Let God touch your lives. Again, just keep us lifted in prayer because we're going to need your prayer. We're praying also for the greatest weather we've ever had, that there's not a drop of rain, not only Saturday, but Friday, because we have dancers and we don't need that grass wet. And they're dancing and they could possibly hurt themselves. So, we're praying for great weather. We're praying for a great turnout. We're praying for a good mindset of those who actually come out, that they're coming out. And even if they don't go to church, or even if they don't necessarily believe God for who he is the way we do, that there will be some change in a life. If we touched one person, the job is done, because it has a domino effect. But with at least 200 people in that park, we're looking for a whole lot of lives to be turned around. And as a matter of fact, it's going to be over 200 people, because I haven't counted my health and wellness fair individuals or the service tables that will be there. Those representatives will be there too. Now, they're coming for their element, but guess what? They'll be hearing the word of God. So look at how God moves. Look at how God moves. So thank you so much. God spares again next week, Wednesday. We will be back, and I can't wait to come back and talk about Breaking the Yoke Community Conference, Prayer and Awareness Walk. Love you all. I love you. Thank you.